Hello, everybody. I wanted to go over the Week 8 assignment, which is the Unit 2 Research and Integrating Sources Reflection Journal. That's a mouthful. Okay, so there will be a link to that assignment in the Week 8 announcement, but you can also find it by going to Content, going into Unit 2, and then clicking on the assignment details. You'll want to scroll down to the very bottom. This is the last assignment in Unit 2. It is the Research and Integrating Sources Reflection Journal. Now, you do have two choices. You can either write a journal reflection, which would be at least a page and up to 3 pages of your reflections on Unit 2. Or you can do a presentation using PowerPoint or some other visual means. And that would be a 3 to 5 minute presentation. Either way, you're covering the same content. So in the assignment, there are 4 questions or 4 prompts, if you will, that you should be responding to in this journal reflection. If you're doing the written journal, you're going to format this in a Word document using APA format, using double spacing, indenting the first line of your paragraphs, and using your proofreading and other skills to do the best job that you can. If you're doing the written assignment, my suggestion is that you begin your essay with an introductory paragraph stating that the purpose of this reflection is to think about all of the activities and skills that you have learned in Unit 2, and that you're going to reflect on what you have learned in this unit. Then you can use each of these bulleted prompts as a paragraph. And if you do that, you'll certainly get your 1-page minimum of text. So the second paragraph after your introduction will deal with this first question. What was the most difficult or challenging part of this process, and how did you overcome this challenge? So think back through Unit 2. What was the hardest assignment or hardest activity or most difficult task that you had? And you would identify that, explain why it was difficult, and what you did to overcome the challenges. And that would be paragraph 2. Then you'd move on to a new paragraph in which you will discuss how, in general, you can break down a big research project into manageable pieces. You did that in Unit 2 through your English 101 work, where we first looked at finding sources. We used the CRAP test to evaluate them. We practiced summarizing. We practiced paraphrasing. We learned how to do APA citations and reference entries. And so we broke it down for you, so you could also discuss how that worked for you in Unit 2. So Unit 2 is about taking a big project, which in this case was the Unit 2 final assignment, and breaking it down into pieces to make it manageable. The next paragraph then will deal with this third prompt. What resources or tools will help you complete academic research in the future? And you can look back on your research toolbox document and just again reflect on Unit 2 to think, okay, what did I learn that will help me do research in the future? If I'm in another class and I'm told to do a paper on some topic related to that class, how will I know how to look up information and how to use it? So again, a paragraph discussing that. And then the last prompt, I think, can be part of your final paragraph. This would be your overall reflection on Unit 2. So looking at all those pieces that you've been discussing, how did Unit 2 go for you? What are your takeaway messages from that unit? And then that would serve as your conclusion. So basically, you'll have 5 paragraphs, an introduction, and then 1 for each of these bullets, making sure the last one shows that this is your conclusion and you provide that closure. So you're going to actually open up a Word document. I'm not going to have you do a title page, which you have done in English 101, but you should give your paper a title. And we won't worry about putting your name on it. When you submit it, your name will be associated with it. So just give it a title, and then make sure that you have APA approved fonts, which would be either Times New Roman or Calibri 11. And then make sure that your spacing is at double spacing. Be sure to indent your first line. And then, of course, in the introduction, you will describe, why you are writing this reflection, and what will be the basic content of this journal. Of course, it'll be much longer than one sentence. You want to make your paragraphs each at least 3 to 5 sentences, or even more. Probably the intro would be a little shorter than the others. And then, of course, you would deal with each of those points. If you can, use good transitions to introduce what you're going to talk about in your paragraph. And then again, paragraph 3, use a good transition. Another interesting part of Unit 2 was, and then you'll deal with that second prompt, and so on and so on. So again, I'm not showing you full paragraphs here, but please indent the first line of each of your paragraphs. And when you do get to the conclusion, do use transitions such as in conclusion, and then again that overall reflection. So just double-spaced paragraph format, indenting the first lines of your paragraphs, title at the top, and then you'll be submitting that. And there is a link in the title of the assignment for you to click on that and then upload your document. Hopefully that will help you as you complete this assignment.